Another day, another Patreon request designed to hurt me. But don't worry, I'll get them back. I'll get them all back a lot and very painfully.
You have another Patreon review due.
Especially you!
But not today.
Greetings, gentle viewers! This is Narnia! This is the 1979 animated version of the Chronicles of Narnia. It's by Bill Melendez, who's mainly known for the Charlie Brown films and for still being the voice of Snoopy almost a decade after his death. Anyway, in this, we have nightmarish animation, random badly thought out religious shit, sexism, and talking animals. This is practically Where the Dead Go to Die, Respectable Edition. I'd make some snide comments like, "Ooh, this is so shit that C.S. Lewis was lucky he died before they made this." But his apologetics in sci-fi were so shit that I wish it lasted long enough to see this crap, and give himself a hernia wondering why they boiled Mr. Tumnus. But I'm getting ahead of myself, and while it's always appropriate to shit on Clive Staples Lewis, especially after digging him up, which I did as part of my research for this review, I feel that I should probably concentrate on the film in question. It's just polite, wasting time pointing out just how fucking stupid his liar, lunatic, or Lord Trilemma is, just wouldn't be fair. Now, Americans who are familiar with this are going to be a bit confused because this is the UK version, meaning just about everyone who's not one of the kids or Aslan's being revoiced. And the trilemma is really fucking stupid. If I don't say this now, it'll burst out during the weirdly animated battle scene later on. According to CS, it's short for C.S. Lewis, Jesus has to be a liar, lunatic, or Lord, and he went with Lord. What the fuck? Never heard a mistaken Cake Boy Stiglitz Lewis? If that is your real name? Never heard a legend? As in a story that's commonly told that might be true but hasn't been verified? Because that sounds a lot like Jesus, Mr. Charlemagne Spock Lewis. And even if it needs to be liar, lunatic, or Lord for some deranged reason that only Mr. Cumberbund Sausage Meat Lewis understands, I'm sorry, but unless you cut your dick off with Occam's razor, then no matter how you slice it, Lord is the least likely of the three. Because it requires supernatural shit. If you want to be a Christian, that's fine. Actually, no, it's not fine. You should worship me. But that's for a different time. It's just that CS, or crikey slowpoke Lewis, is a bad apologist. But the Screwtape letters were very informative. Oh, Andy's room. You've got a friend in Aslan. You've got a friend in Aslan. We open with clouds. Thousands of them! That look like melted top hats! Oh, that one looks like a horse. Fucking a cloud. Oh no, it's another top hat. I gotta say that putting the title over a giant Smurf's nipple was a brave move. We'll see what pays off. And are you going by release order, or do you just fucking hate the magician's nephew? It's okay. Most people do. Why'd you feel the need to put that in there anyway? Very few people are going to mistake this for the Chronicles of Narnia, Leona's Bitch in the Wardroom, which is a naval-themed porno starring Leon Thomas, a 90s kid that I just made up. The credits are done in the style of a picture book. I think I knew what they were going for, but I'm also unreasonably confident, so I could be wrong. This whole thing feels like you're watching an even more lethargic version of Ivor the Engine.
What happened, Edwin Jones?
Ivor was pulling too many sledges and tipped over.
Well, he's right under the snow, nearly. We better dig him out.
Oh, no need for that. He's got a good fire and he's the right way up. The snow will soon melt, won't it, Ivor?
Is it just me, or does that water tower look like Gonzo the Muppet if he was Iron Man? And no, this wasn't written by Cat Stevens Lewis, unless he was a zombie at this point. But you know, it's hard to write a screenplay when you're busy eating the producer. Does this thing even know what an adaptation is? That a film based on a book is not the same thing as a novel it's based on? If this was based on the Bible, would it claim that God wrote the script? Does it even know what a film is? Here's a clue. It's not a fucking book!
She does not even know what she is.
Inside the house, we hear laughter, see some walls that are bare and or bathed in mould, and a spiral staircase that someone got bored with spiraling. Lucy, a local advertisement for the colour pink, has had an adventure.
I'm here. I've come back. I'm alright.
Sorry, Lucy, they didn't miss you, and neither did your parents. They died, by the way, and left you only their scorn. This is meant to be the early 40s, and look at all those period-accurate clothes. Stunning. Especially Peter, the oldest one. He looks like he skinned a velveteen rabbit and started wearing it. There's a germ of a joke there, but I think it needs some work. Pity, it's already edited. Lucy was in Narnia having her adventure, but only seconds passed in the real world. Naturally, she's having trouble convincing her brother, sister, and Billy from TV's Power Rangers.
I hardly notice when you're here.
Now, Lucy's having fun, Edmund.
Look at how they talk. It's like a mixture of their faces being made of vulcanized rubber and the people who are watching having a bad trip.
Now, Lucy's having fun, Edmund.
No, I'm not.
I never have fun. This whole style could be called make Narnia itself look less ridiculous by making everyone else look deranged. It's an interesting concept. Let's see how it works. Anyway, she shows them the perfectly normal, regular, everyday wardrobe that she claims somehow took her to Narnia. And the others are rightfully a bit skeptical.
It's just an ordinary wardrobe. Look. You can feel the back of it.
Oh, as naturally said to a bishop.
Or, in the American dub,
You can feel the back of it.
That's what she said.
Good joke, Lucy. You really fooled us. I must admit, we almost believed you.
Yes, Lucy, we almost believed that you found a death portal in a fucking wardrobe. Being a dickhead, Billy decides that she's crazy, and that really should be a meme. Someone be a dear and meme that. And hey, it's fucking England. It's not that cold. Why are there so many fur coats in there? And how many Narnians had to die so they could be warm later on? Is that why there's only 2 beavers? Anyway, now is not the time for questions. Now is the time for moping.
I don't care what they say. It may be just full of coats now, but it was Narnia then.
Or rather, looking like she's about to wank her bit her brains out while remembering her trip to Narnia. Whatever gets you off. Maybe she's just really turned on by darkness cunningly employed to save animation costs, which was then used to buy coats. Anyway, during a game of hide and seek, she hid in the wardrobe and ended up in Narnia. An old-fashioned place where men are men, women are women, metaphors are obvious, and fawns are made of tomato.
Goodness gracious me.
Someone painted James McAvoy and gave him a wig made of a chia pet, and it's somehow less embarrassing than X-Men Apocalypse. Oh no, I've worked it out. He's secretly Irish. Green-haired and so drunk that he changed colour.
Good evening.
Get behind me, Satan. I've heard about your snake shit.
I don't want to be inquisitive, but should I not be right in thinking that you are the daughter of Eve?
Nah, the book says I'm the daughter of Mrs. Pevensey. The scene's so engrossing, the snowfall appears to have frozen. Spider fun does stuff. Really impractical. If someone's not the one speaking, they just fucking freeze, and it's not even like they're waiting their turn. It's more like they're doing dialogue like a Quicksilver scene in X-Men, and the one who's going fast is constantly switching. Anyway, because Lucy doesn't have a very well developed sense of self-preservation, she agrees to go have tea with Mr. Tumnus.
There'll be a roaring fire, and tea, and toast, and cake.
And maybe even roofies if you're lucky. You know, I'm surprised it's taken me this long to notice this, but why is she not cold? And if she is cold, then why can't she express it? I mean, she can express everything from being still to her body's made of fucking noodles. Being cold shouldn't be that hard.
The life and letters of Silenus, nymphs and their ways, men, monks and gamekeepers, a study in popular legend.
You know, for a Christmas-coloured creature who thinks man is a myth, you have a lot of gay porn. So Tumnus does indeed drug her, and because I think I should let you know that according to myth, fawns were really randy. So randy that part of why J.R.R. Tolkien didn't like Narnia was because Tumnus didn't try to rape her. Now, he was not in favour of rape, but he was pissed off at Cronenberg's, Stalin, Lewis's obsession with having mythological beings, but have them act out of character. Anyway, because fawns are so famously randy, when he invited her over for tea, I'm wondering what he intended to eat. Oh, and obvious Satan imagery goes a bit to prove my point. Tumnus works for the evil White Witch, but has had a bit of a change of heart. He's paid to bring any humans he finds to the witch, and now he's met one he can't bring himself to do it. Honestly, I'm thinking he took the job because, what with man being a myth and all, it was money for nothing.
Mr. Tumnus, what is the matter?
He clearly has a problem with women raising their voice at him. When you meet his boss, you will understand.
Mr. Tumnus, stop it at once.
I'm crying because I'm such a bad fawn.
No, you're actually quite a good fawn, you know, being two-legged and not really existing and all. I mean, you're no flack, but you're a better fawn than Hugh Jackman, who exists and doesn't even have 2 legs. Man's a tripod.
I'm in the pay of the White Witch.
The White Witch? Who's she?
She rules Narnia. She was a Tibetan witch, but then they cast Tilda Swinton. One thing I don't get is why Tumnus doesn't use his probably unusually warm skin to his advantage and stab the White Witch with his nose. He decides to smuggle Lucy back to the wardrobe, and I'm guessing he's already working on a CV for that cushier job working for Sister Gomez.
I'm here! I've come back! I'm alright! I know it happened, but I don't know how.
Like I don't know why there was a flashback. Anyway, because the wardrobe is more temperamental than people who pre-ordered No Man's Sky, it suddenly works again, allowing Lucy and Billy who's following her into Narnia.
My goodness, she was right.
Oh dear Billy, now everyone's gonna think you're crazy! Couldn't have happened to a nicer sociopath. Billy really is a stage villain in search of a panto to be in. You know, you might wonder why there's a working lamppost, but that's just a world building being made of hot air.
Lucy! I'm sorry I didn't believe you.
No, you're not. Because you're a cunt. Unlike Lucy, Billy actually reacts to the cold. Since he's wearing more clothes than her, I really don't know if she's fucking hardcore or if he's a fucking wuss. Both seem equally likely. Anyway, he runs into the White Witch. She's a witch. Who's white. Funny how that works. What makes the White Witch white? Being a semi-literal cracker. Stop! Speaking as a white-faced evil queen, in real life I don't slither under her domain like Ludwig II of Bavaria on a bad day. We're far too busy filling graves with people like both of them.
Are you an overgrown dwarf that has cut off its beard?
I'm a boy.
When someone asks if you're a dwarf, you say yes! Okay, this is looking a bit rapey too. Jesus. Billy is one of the stupidest characters in fantasy fiction. He meets a shrieking, clearly violent, crazy woman with a pet slave and a head and shoulders that look like a fucking clit and vulva, and assumes she's a goodie because she gives him sweets.
Some Turkish delight?
Yes, please.
Why the fuck does anyone calling themselves a witch need to magic up a thing in order to magic up another thing? Cut out the middle part, just magic up the thing! It's not that hard, you do fucking magic! Holy fuck, he ate all that Turkish delight in seconds. What is he, me? She tells him to bring the other kids to her to get more Turkish delight, and to be adopted so they can rule Narnia as mother and son or something. Which he agrees to because stupid, treacherous, and, well, it's him. He's basically Starscream.
When you come back, look for those two little hills rising above the trees.
They're not hills, that's Mounts Lara and Croft. The Queen's into tits. She built her castle in the middle of the cleavage. Oh shit, the snowfall's frozen again. Clearly it's enthralled by the animation that makes it look like all the characters are made of marshmallow. And Lucy's still not cold. White Queen? She's got blood made of fucking ice! Anyway, Billy's such a cunt that within minutes of entering a fantasy world, he's gone full-on fantasy racist.
You can't always believe what fawns say.
Who said so?
Everyone knows it.
Give him a few days, he'll be screaming about making Narnia great again and arresting Aslan for terrorism. Of course, he'd say it's Aslan's own fault. It is a Turkish name. Why does everyone walk like they need a badly animated dump? So they decide to talk to Peter and Susan, aka Velma and Louise, about Narnia. Of course, to remind you that he's a cunt, Billy decides to lie and claim they made it up. Why? Fucked if I know! Like how I don't know what the fuck happened to his neck.
There she goes again. What's the matter with her?
Peter starts to yell at Billy because the rest of us can't, and what the fuck is that crawling up the wall? Did they animate that, or did a fly somehow get trapped in the celluloid? Weird. Anyway, Peter and Susan go to see the professor.
He's totally not a pedophile.
Yes. Thank you. You. Don't let the bell-bottoms and whatnot fool you. This is supposed to be the early 40s. The kids were evacuated from London to escape the bombings and were moved in with the professor. He's not related to them or anything. He's just an old guy the government says they need to live with. That probably wouldn't happen today. Regardless, Dr. Snuggles has really hit that crash diet. He looks like an unholy mix of Sigmund Freud and Mark Twain. Anyway, the professor uses some truly deranged logic to prove Lucy right about Narnia.
It was less than a minute, and she claims to have been away for hours.
That is the very thing that makes her story so likely to be true.
Do you really mean that there could be a Narnia?
Nothing is more probable.
You really need to watch the film to get the whole picture, but I think the professor just used some patented Calvin Slughorn Lewis logic to prove the existence of Narnia. As in, he just said something so fucking stupid he should have his professorship rescinded and retroactively burned. Unless the professor's the name of the cat. Which I hope it is. So, now that Peter and Susan know that the stupidest man in history believes in Narnia, they enter the wardrobe, and this time the portal politely stays open. Billy accidentally reveals that he was lying earlier and had been in Narnia, and I'm giving up on ever finding out why he decided to lie, apart from the fact that it's him.
I think Lucy ought to be the leader. She deserves it.
Well, it's nice to know that in fiction at least, a logical female choice can beat out a malicious, lying cunt. That was topical when I wrote this, it's topical when I filmed this, it's going to be topical when I edit this, and I fucking bet it's topical when you watch this.
He's not only the nicest fawn I've ever met, he's...
The only fawn I ever met. Lucy, stop impersonating Edward Munch's this scream and say the rest of your line. So, Mr. Tumnus has been taken by the White Queen's forces, who kindly left a letter in English explaining everything.
What a stroke of luck!
Tumnus is under arrest and awaiting his trial on a charge of comforting Her Majesty's enemies.
Comforting her enemies, see, I told you fawns were randy buggers. They decide, well, 3 of them decide to go and try and help Tumnus. Billy decides he'd rather not be smacked and goes along with it.
Quiet, you!
Shh! Look! There's something moving among the trees. Over there, to the left.
Nice beaver.
They decide to follow the beaver, and with those coats and that walking, this really needs a new score.
We're following a guide we know nothing about. Maybe he's leading us into a trap.
That's a nasty idea.
How fucking dare you think of something that could happen? And Peter, don't you ever force me to take Billy's side again, or I will reach inside this fucking film and throttle you! I'll work out how to do it. Anyway, the beaver proves that he's friendly by showing them the handkerchief Lucy left with Tumnus, which he totally couldn't have been given by the White Witch after its significance was tortured out of Tumnus. Plus, that's the wrong colour of handkerchief, so he's clearly a spy. Anyway, he makes an announcement.
They say Aslan is on the move.
What's an Aslan? I think it's a type of lizard. It's a cult leader. Why are we smiling? So, Mr. Beaver invites him to his dam so they can talk in private.
What a lovely dam.
Oh, merely a trifle, merely a trifle. Careful, try not to slip.
You'll end up in a terrible eating mess. Here we are with the Beavers, just an ordinary, everyday family of a trans man and his wife.
Come in, dinner is on the table.
Oh good, they're eating plates. So the Beavers explain that Mr. Tumnus has been turned to stone at the White Witch's castle. Alas, no one explains what the fuck is happening to Peter's hair. It looks like it's having a rave.
Tell us about Aslan.
Aslan?
Well, in short, he's a shit god who didn't bother to stop the subjugation of his people for decades, but when he does turn up, everyone offers him lion fellatio. And have you seen a lion cock? You can get stabbed.
Tell us about Aslan.
He's an absentee landlord.
At the sound of his roar, sorrows will be no more.
Lannisters win Game of Thrones, confirmed!
Is he a man?
Aslan a man? Certainly not. Aslan is a lion.
Silly humans, don't you know any Turkish? They explain more about Aslan, prophecies, and indicate the witch is somehow a descendant of Lilith.
But she's no daughter of Eve, no.
They pointedly don't explain who the fuck owns the bunk beds in the background, and Billy uses Obfuscate level 2 to sneak away.
Where's Edmund?
Edmund!
Edmund!
With that disconcerting amount of crotch, he's unlikely to come back. The Beavers assume that he's gone to the White Witch. And yeah, he has, but for all they know he could have gone outside, and maybe some time, because he went for a piss.
He has betrayed us all.
He's not only betrayed you, but about halfway to winning suicide because he left his coat!
I'll show them. Them and their lion. I'll show them. Picking on the Queen.
Picking on the Queen? You don't know what words mean, do you? Guarding the witch's castle is Fenris Ulf, fucking wrecked after a shift at his second job hunting down a trail for the nothing.
Can't hurt me.
Billy, you deserve everything that happens to you. Not so much for being evil, but for being a fucking idiot. Hey, how the fuck did he write the letter in Tumnus's house? Anyway, I don't know if you've noticed this, but the witch is basically an albino Grace Jones.
Did I not tell you to bring the others with you?
Well, more so than me, anyway. Yeah, you know it. And her dwarf slave is about 46% made of legs and the rest is head. I do not envy whatever gave birth to him. The The Queen decides to end Aslan's prophecy by killing all the humans before they can meet Aslan.
I shall kill all 4 humans before they can reach the stone table.
That sounds clever until you give it more than 2 seconds of thought and realise that she could just end it by killing the fuck out of Billy. You see, they need 4 humans to sit on the thrones and not 3 in Swiss Army Man.
Take with you the swiftest wolves and go to the house of the Beavers and kill whatever you find there.
And for the sake of your men, I hope they're not faster than you. When he finds no one at the Beavers' place, he heads to the stone table, aided by the speed-giving power of exciting music. Fuck, that was intense. Mince faster, children! Somehow, walking slowly on foot isn't able to outrun a pack of wolves, so they hide in a cave. And the Beavers somehow manage to fit enough sandwiches to feed a small army, a giant teapot full of warm tea, cups, and a fucking tablecloth in a shoulder bag. Clearly, the White Witch is far from the most powerful magic user in Narnia. Anyway, seconds later, they hear sleigh bells outside.
Not to worry. Mr. Beaver can scramble among the bushes and brambles without being seen. He'll see which way the witch's sledge goes.
It's all right. Come out, Mrs. Beaver. Come out, sons of Adam and daughters of Eve.
Shit, they already captured him. Nah, the Queen's powers are fading faster than Nigel Farage's relevance. The snow's melting, the weather's changed, Santa Claus has come and gone, and this fox has managed to get off his fucking tits.
What does the fox say?
Father Christmas has been here! The witch's magic is weakening! Hooray!
Aslan is on the move.
Anyway, rightly sensing that the plot's quickly approaching, the Beavers and kids decide to move on.
We must go, we must go.
Chaos reigns.
Well, well. What do my eyes behold?
Substandard animation.
What is the meaning of this?
Well, it's a traditional feast to mark the passing of the deepest point of winter and the eventual coming of spring. Anyway, the witch freezes the revelers because Santa Claus is as unwelcome in Narnia as he is in Afghanistan. I decapitated a reindeer the last we crossed the border. The zoo wasn't happy. I had to buy a panda to apologise. There were a lot of crying children.
They were here. They can't be too far ahead. Drive on!
Pity you didn't think to ask what direction they went.
Faster! Faster, fool!
If this is the wrong direction, I want to know about it faster! Poor purple people eater driving the sled. Not even his old boss in Yellow Submarine yelled this much. Finally, the snow thaws completely and they're forced to follow on foot.
Tie the hands of the human creature behind it.
What the fuck? That's not behind, that's his sides! Substandard fucking minion techniques. At least when mine don't do what they're told, it usually results in their death. Or some other such hilarity.
We're going to overtake them, or I'll know the reason why not!
Because you are slow? Duh.
Faster! Faster!
Now, as much as I'm enjoying seeing Billy reenact the 39 Stripes, I really wish someone would tell the witch that one way to make them all go faster would be for her to speed up.
Faster! Faster, fools!
Ganas!
Yes, Jadis. Everyone's a fool but you.
Faster! Faster!
Louder! Louder!
One thing's for sure. The witch won't be able to use her sledge now there is no snow, so we can take it a bit easier.
Yes, Beaver, now is the perfect time to let them catch up with you. Doesn't matter though, Aslan's camp is around the next corner. Not only is he God, but either brought a standing army with him, which seems a bit like overkill, or a bunch of untrained people have been drawn to him to be his army. Which should mean that most of them will panic and die when the fighting breaks out, when Aslan, being God, could just win by himself. Take me for example, I use an army, but not because I have to, it's to let the little people feel like they've achieved something. And centaurs, just like in the Bible. Between them and the fawns, Aslan's got all the mythical rapists on his side. Anyway, Aslan's played by Stephen, shoutiest Doctor Who villain, gold and silver medal winner Thorne.
What?
I didn't win the bronze as well?
I created this world! It is mine! Mine by right!
hand, he's being his usual subtle self.
Welcome, Peter, son of Adam. Welcome, Susan and Lucy, daughters of Eve. Welcome, he beaver and she beaver. But where is the fourth? Welcome, he beaver and she beaver.
Son and daughter of a notable beaver. Your incest pleases me. Anyway, Aslan takes a few moments out from his busy schedule of styling his mane to give out gifts to the kids.
Peter, son of Adam, the sword and shield are for you. It is a magic blade and will protect you well.
The shield is purely decorative.
Susan, the bow and arrows are for you. Use them only in great need, for I do not mean you to fight in battle.
Which is why I gave you a bow and arrow. He gives Lucy a healing potion and a dagger.
For you also are not to be in battle.
Because I'm a misogynist, and I've forgotten that female lions are better at killing shit than male ones. So I really should have no problems with you fighting. Fenris Ulf arrives, bleary-eyed and so exhausted that he mistakes Peter for Atreyu. The battle's short and not in the sane way, seeing as it's a seasoned giant fucking wolf fighting an armorless teen. An armorless teen whose only experience with sword touching involved his cock! Well, that looks a little Maugrim for him.
Growl, that's the same trick Atreyu used. I can't believe I fell for it again.
If the White Queen's top general can be killed by an almost literally talentless wanker with a sword, then fuck me, this world could be conquered by 5 randomly chosen idiots. I have an idea for a field trip next time I'm at Con Bravo. I'll just drop into some panels, grab some people, tell them that we're going to invade Narnia, and if it doesn't actually exist, we can leave them in Finland and see what happens. Wait, is Aslan holding that sword in his mouth? Okay. Did he spit it out off screen? That's not very regal.
They're all at the stone table with him. They've killed my clown, Fenris Ulf.
The Queen calls her forces, and apart from looking like they each came from a different film, they all look so happy. Say what you will about the White Witch, like that she's basically me, but less shrill. But her and hers have a zest for life. Aslan's people act like a bunch of Vulcans minus the logic. Anyway, like I said, the witch's forces have been called, as in I'm pretty sure they fucking heard her in hell, or wherever they are, and they'll be arriving shortly. Anyway, she finally decides to kill Billy. The self-control of that woman is somehow astounding. But Aslan's people use the power of baddies being deaf to rush in and stop it. Now, look at these forces. Aslan's got some Minotaurs, when 3 minutes earlier the Queen had listed Minotaurs among her forces.
Call the ghouls and the Minotaurs!
So, this isn't a joke. I'm guessing Aslan has the attractive Minotaurs. Quite how Aslan can tell one from the other, I'm not even going to guess about.
Who's got the witch?
I thought you had her.
I didn't see her after I knocked the knife out of her hand.
What? What?! That woman is so fucking loud that you can track her by her breathing! How the fuck did you lose her? You grabbed a knife out of your enemy's hand and then en masse did what? Look at the nearest tree so she could hide?
Drat! She got away!
Do you mean she's escaped?
Is this the Narnian version of hide and seek?
An eagle? That's not an eagle, that's a sparrow.
That's a picture of a sparrow. We're indoors.
Oh, God, well, clearly, we're not looking hard enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep looking.
You're both idiots.
Do you mean she's escaped?
One can't mind everything at once.
No, but you can look at the person you're trying to capture. So the Queen reveals that she hid using the unmatched power of rock. We will rock you. She looks so fed up that she had to wait for nightfall. Anyway, after Billy does some barebacking, oh my, the kids meet up again.
And there is no need to talk to him about the past.
Aslan, it is not your place to tell them that an issue between them is finished or not. Shut the fuck up and purr! Really fucking loudly. So an envoy arrives from the witch, and hell, it's MODOK. Aslan, has anyone told you that you look like Fabio crossed with John Michael Thor? The witch comes to talk with Aslan due to some ancient treaty shit she's supposed to own all the traitors in Narnia. Even though Edmund's not a traitor, he never worked for Aslan and only worked for her under false pretenses. Presenting the Narnian way to murder your enemies. A short play.
You slept with my wife, but I will give you £10 to clean my garden.
Ooh, that's a good deal. When do I get paid?
Never!
Oh, I'm gonna do it then.
Why are you not cleaning my garden?
Because you won't pay me, and it's raining.
Betrayer!
What?
You're a traitor!
No!
Oh, Queenie!
Have you forgotten the deep magic?
Let us say I have forgotten it.
Yes, I need exposition! I forgot they even did that. If traitors aren't given to her to deal with, then Narnia will be destroyed in fire and water, even though those two things might cancel each other out. Everyone's looking really pissed off about it, except this guy. He's just wondering what the fuck he is. Dude, it's okay, you're probably a Lamassu. You know, I think this is the only thing where Stephen Thorne was ever outshouted.
His blood is my property!
Aslan and the witch hash it out. He'll get Billy, even though we could just give him to her and then send the kids back through the wardrobe to bring back someone better than him. Literally the first person they come across should fit the bill. Hey, if the she must kill traitors thing can be so easily dropped, then what's to stop her from forgiving traitors to other people and having them work for her? This is a stupid system. Anyway, Aslan's part of the deal is that he'll be murdered by the Queen as a sacrifice to the god of obvious metaphors. In order for this to happen in secret, he takes his army away from the stone table. Most walk with a mix of confidence and quiet stoicism for the battle ahead, while 3 of the kids get bored and decide to hop all the way there. But Peter... Aslan! What the fuck am I doing with my arms? Help me, Aslan! I fear they're under possession by the White Witch! Oh god! Peter, that's called the Rapture! Aslan, how are you able to be a perfect blend of David Bowie and Pat Sharp while being a lion? That is called a miracle! Lucy, that's midnight. 4 days without a change of clothes. A new record! Anyway, the humans get beds because racism, and then those two decide to not even fucking use them. They find Aslan slinking out of the camp like a very depressed leonine Milo Yiannopoulos. Aslan, do you think you could magic us up some new clothes? I'm sorry, but not even my powers can increase the animation budget. As a final request, Aslan has him fondle him all the way back to the stone table where he can meet his fate. I dunno why the Queen called her knife fate, but since I said it, it's probably true. My Queen! Something unwicked this way comes! And again, is it just me or does the White Witch's crew have a monopoly in happiness?
He's only a big cat!
Weird that, seeing as he's a cat that's big. Hey Aslan, if you were Rule 63, you'd be Aslag! Aslan just can't even with all these fucking people.
How can they?
How could they take the chance to humiliate and kill their mortal enemy that they've been in fear of for a century? How could they? Pretty easily, actually. I could scream that Aslan's lazy, as even Jesus walked to his crucifixion, but I like that he doesn't move. It's like he's trying to put someone's back out.
And now, who has won? Who has won?
No one involved with this film, including me for reviewing it, the patron for requesting it, and you guys for watching the review. She screams some more before using something a little less cutting. Her huge fucking knife. Okay, I have no idea what the fuck that is, but I'm pretty sure Harry Russo designed it.
Follow me and crush the human vermin and traitors. Follow me!
It's time to take some action, beasts. It's time to follow me. Hey, the camp is hours away. Pace yourselves.
At dawn we shall destroy them.
Solid plan. Rock up to their camp in the middle of the night, making more noise than Iron Maiden, and then wait till dawn. After which you might still be able to get the drop on anyone down there who's both deaf and blind.
What a glorious day tomorrow shall be.
Holy shit, Aslan was stabbed so hard the pigment in his fur leaked out. So mice come to bite through the ropes, because how is he going to dramatically get his vengeance on if he can't even move? Answer fucking hilariously. Isn't this ironic, Aslan?
Who the fuck's Aslan? Who are you? Let me go!
No!
I'll get out of here!
No, you won't.
I'll bite your legs off!
I'm making a point!
I need a knife or something!
Yes, you do.
You're gonna put this online, aren't you?
Yes.
Please don't.
Part of me hopes the mice were actually trying to eat him, you know, getting revenge on the god of their arch nemesis, and they just missed his flesh.
I suppose there's nothing more we can do.
So cold.
So am I. Let's walk about a bit.
Yes, that way we'll come into contact with more cold air. And now you're cold? You're right. Feet of snow has nothing on a temperate night.
What's that?
With the loss of the stone table, the Narnian tourist industry suffered a crippling blow. And with Aslan brought back to life, they can't even sell tickets to his carcass.
You're alive! You're alive! You're alive!
Yes.
Yes, for I am clearly Jesus. Pay attention next time.
He's alive! He's alive! He's alive and I'm forgiven. Heaven's gates are open wide. He's alive! He's alive! He's alive and I'm forgiven. Heaven's gates are
With those jumping powers, it might also be Zhazh as a Tourna in a fursuit. Aslan's making a daisy chain, and it's somehow gayer than the sex-based kind. Why is he alive? Well, basically, he used his out-of-character knowledge to metagame the fuck out of the story.
But when a willing victim who had committed no treachery was killed in a traitor's stead, death itself would start working backwards.
Ah, fuck yeah, zombies! Nah, I mean, there might be, but they'd be so badly animated you couldn't tell them apart from the Gorgons. And the Gorgons might be giant spiders for all I know. In fact, the animation's so bad I'm now convinced that Aslan's actually Winnebago.
Children, you must ride on me.
Hey, I'm kind of partial strap-ons myself.
We must get reinforcements. The battle at Varuna Ford is not going well.
Because my forces are shit. And possibly because they're being led by literal children. So why are Aslan's powers limited to non-teleporting or whatever would be useful at the time? You'd think that being God would come in handy. It certainly does for me. Oh, stop pulling my hair, children, or I'll smite you!
Fuck me, he cleared it.
As he cannot abide a fair fight, Aslan uses his bad breath to bring all the Queen's statues back to life, and my, there are a lot of gay couples there. Dwarves and centaurs and dryads. Oh my.
Look everywhere. Upstairs and downstairs, leave no corner unsearched. Our people, even at this moment, are in dreadful combat.
Dreadful combat? Is it like the Christian version of Mortal Kombat? Sorry. I see a distinct lack of statues here. Hey, Queen, it doesn't count as a secret weapon that you can unleash on your enemies when the time is right, if everyone knows you can do it! Oh, now that I've shamed you, now you use it! Better late than fucking never! And Aslan, maybe their combat would be a little less dreadful if you stopped speeching and fucking fought! Or, failing that, you could have just used your literally Jesus powers to win by yourself, because it takes half the film to go from the witch's castle to this battlefield. I know, because I was watching earlier on. So these X-statues are going to do fuck all in that battle. And since you don't even break time to use these fucks to win the battle, because you win without them, why the fuck did you even go to the castle now? Everyone who died in that battle is on your stupidly shaped head. Anyway, Billy breaks the witch's wand, which frees everyone from stones, so Aslan didn't need to go to the castle and he could have won the battle by now. Anyway, Billy is so shocked by his random moment of competence that he faints.
Off my back, children.
This might look silly if you don't.
You could have done that ages ago, moron. Yay! The Lannisters have routed the evil, cold-loving army with an affinity for wolves!
We should call this battle the Red Deading.
Anyway, Billy was wounded horribly, somehow, and Lucy needs to use her healing potion to save him. Because if she didn't, it'd be just about as useless as the dagger she was given earlier on.
The cordial I gave you.
Earlier on, Aslan said that a few drops would save someone.
If you or any of your friends are hurt, a few drops will restore you.
All you've done is make him functionally immortal and turn the last battle into Torchwood Miracle Day! So all 4 kids are crowned. My, this is vaguely incesty. It's like the Ptolemies all over again.
Once a king or queen of Narnia, always a king or queen.
The throne room's gonna get very crowded very fucking quickly. So years pass, Tumnus turns into Ray Winston, and the face of the kids somehow get even flatter than they were. What the fuck is that under his tail? That is fucking brilliant.
Great news! The white stag has once more appeared in the forest.
The white stag?
It's very rare. Let's kill it! Oh yes, let's! So they hunt the stag, and the hubris brought on by finally having other clothes to wear finally gets the better of them. And they find themselves back on the portal to Earth.
We're back!
But what the fuck happened to their horses is something that we're all better off not even wondering about. It can't have been pretty. And their kids again, years of life and experiences gone, but since the film doesn't give a shit, I think it'd be impolite for me to give one. Back in Narnia, Mr. Beaver was left in charge. In the years that followed, the Narnian economy moved towards rampant tree destruction that created a dust bowl. Later, he was assassinated by Father Christmas with a gift of bullets. This is the Chronicles of Narnia, done with awkward but vaguely charming animation. It's not as good as the BBC TV version, but a little less generic than the big film one. And probably a little better. I'm not a fan, but it is basically J.R.R. Tolkien for kids. Actually, no. The Hobbit was J.R.R. Tolkien for kids. This is The Hobbit for kids. Honestly, I think the best audience for this are those who grew up with it, but aren't me. I'm Amanda Hagan, and I have to live with it every day.
Stop!
What now?
You dare besmirch my creation?
C.S. Lewis? Look, I'm sorry I insulted your name, but Chuck Schoenberg Lewis is a deeply silly name.
Silence! I am Aslan.
Oh. Can I have your autograph? And how are you invisible?
I am not invisible. Look down.
What?
Time moves differently between Narnia and here, and so does size. Now, what do you say?
You're a tiny lion!
Yes, No! You're
adorable! Yes, you are! You're so funny!
No! Put me down! Ow!
Who's a good boy?
Me.
On closer inspection, I think it might be a robin.
Does that mean the other birds, Friar Tuck?
Of course not. It's smaller than the robin.
Marion, then?
I'm going to say yes.